Hey everybody, and welcome to game 3 of the winners finals of the Not-Dead-Yet tournament. I nearly fucked up saying the name. Obviously still Putin187 versus Milan. In case you didn't watch the previous video where I went over game 1 and 2. Spoilers, Milan won game 1 on Nuclear Winter is Coming, playing blue for motorized against Putin's Dutch-German coalition. And game 2, Putin won with his US deck against Milan's Baltic Front deck on Paddy Field. This means that Putin can't play his US deck for the remainder of this best of 5, and Greyhound can't play his blue for motorized deck for the remainder of this best of 5, because if you win a match, you can't play that deck you won with for the rest of the if you win a game, sorry, then you can't play with that deck that you won with for the remainder of the match. Anyways, Highway to Seoul, we have Putin on blue with his Dutch-German deck that he lost with in the very first game. And we have Milan with his Baltic Front deck that he lost with in the second game. So, well, I guess we're gonna wait until these units split, because from this opener you can hardly see what's gonna happen. Milan started with an Mi-17 infantry CV for Bravo. It happened to me. I'm not sure if it happened to me on Highway before yet, but sometimes people open with anti-helicopter planes just purely for the chance to snipe said infantry CV in a helicopter. Now, luckily for the red spawn, the second spawn is a bit closer to the starting spawn compared to blue 4, so it's a bit harder to do here. Still certainly possible. Both players getting a scout to fly around with for the flanks. Milan with CC squad and Putin with a KCT squad. MITKT basically gonna force this to at least retreat. Seems like both players are going for the mid. Putin starting with a 2A5, we don't see it very often, honestly. Putin is not someone to start with super heavies very often. Kind of surprises me in a bit, to be honest. Very standard opener for him. Well, a very standard opener, which is something you don't see Putin do very often, is what I'm trying to say. For his playstyle, this is not standard at all. This is actually rather extraordinary. One thing that annoys me for Milan is he doesn't have a scout on any of these edges. He does have medium optics, at least, like on the edge, so if there's a vehicle on the highway, he will spot it. Not a scout actually anywhere in this area outside of these air decoys, but they are currently out of position to spot anything in cover whatsoever. Still, though, you should have at least, even poor optics, but at least medium optics somewhere on the edge on the highway in this area, because otherwise, you know, even if the scout, or in this case the ATGM squad, is in, let's say, this area, you can't see down there. You're literally blind. So it's always important to have at least some sort of optics exactly in these hedgerows on the edge, so you can see what's going on down there, because otherwise your opponent can do some pretty nasty stuff, just driving down there and then suddenly appearing as if they were out of nowhere. Anyways, KCT landed here. They might do some nasty stuff. I don't think I casted it, but Putin played against Balanced also on this map, also with his Dutch-German deck, and he from the same sides as well, and he sniped his base CV with a lance. I think this might also be the reason as to why the gas is out here in the open. For once, it means that unless, again, a ground unit is here at the edge, you know, you can't spot it. You know, if you're anywhere in this area or in this area, you can't look down there, you know, unless you're a helicopter, of course. And I think the other reason is that it not being in a forest means that it can a lot faster, you know, drive away if he sees a Lance missile coming in. If the gas was in a forest, you know, units get a speed penalty in forests, especially wheeled units. They get an even bigger speed penalty in forests, in case you don't know. So that makes evading artillery easier. At the same time, though, if Putin manages to drive something down the road here, it's a lot easier to actually kill it with such a unit. But that's a trade-off. Now, with a lot of infantry, Milan doing a push here, losing quite a bit to the mortar here, but still easily getting rid of those Grenadier squad, while still comfortably holding his position in mid. The 2A5 literally didn't do anything so far. To be fair, neither did the bot. But at the same time, you know, Putin being very, very passive here at the start. He also did start with a fob as opposed to Greyhound, which kind of sets him back, and also invested a lot more here defensively. I guess maybe he was expecting some KT or wheel XA pushers down there. Milan already bought his CV on UH1 at the UH14, dealing a bit of damage to the gas. KT should be easily able to deal with it though. Oh no, okay. Alright. Wilk getting some shots off on the YPRs. YPRs on veteran with a Stot Trip 95. Excellent shock infantry. Putin trying to do some pushes here, killing a lot of infantry with this fire support, but not quite worth it, I'd say. Sierra coming in for the 2F5. Getting the kill even. That's a massive massive change in I can't remember the fucking word. Anyways, that's obviously very good for Milan. Basically, the only proper tank on Putin's side got killed. There is still a Leopard cannon here, but it does have only 8 armor, where the mod is, which can nearly one-shot it at even maximum range. So it's not. I don't think it's gonna be all too much, especially also from this position. These YPRs could potentially do some things though. The spikes are turned off, which. Well, I guess the KTs are at least gonna kill 3 of those. He should definitely turn on these spikes. Finally, turn on. The Stotrop did deal with all those infantry and the M1 Wilk in there, so Putin got this position back, while Milan lost basically every unit here and the gas being kind of exposed. Much too early buy, in my opinion. It only gives you a +1, and while Milan was having a strong ground presence over the whole map, it doesn't really give you that much that early on, in my opinion. And generally, I think Delta is a bit safer. He does see that there are KCT here, which nearly killed that KT. He should definitely retreat that, because when panicked, it's not gonna do jack shit. I think the KCT, you know, unless Putin mismicros them a bit, should be able to kill that BMP1. Spikes doing what spikes, you know, just do. Flying over the bridge, did you just see that? Peace run coming in. Jesus, I'm fucking blind again, aren't I? I did notice the peace runs earlier, but I didn't notice that they killed the mod. Well, I'm pretty sure that it were those who killed the mods. Sorry for that. Once again, just like the live stream when I cast it, I'm just blind. I'm really sorry. Maybe I was looking in that area when the mod died. I'm sorry. So that kind of makes it even, but you know, Putin having a much bigger presence up here is including a 2A1, whereas Milan has a bunch of infantry but no tank. He does have a CV though, which I think in this scenario he wished that he bought another M1 Wilk or something instead of the CV, because it's not looking all too great for Milan up there. Putin did buy a CV down here and accidentally unloaded it. I'm not sure what happened there. Also a Tiger and Escort. I guess there was something driving down there. Maybe just an XA or something that the Escort killed with the autocannon. But yeah, not looking too great. Still finally buying a... I was gonna say still no spike in here, but now finally buying a spike. Spike being very great. Wargame with 8 armor can just survive a spike up front with the 1 HP remaining. Obviously still gonna deal a lot of damage to it. MiG-29 ASF against all those peace runs, but I was gonna say there's nothing for the peace runs to kill, but there's an M2 Wilk and an M1 Wilk coming in. Should definitely be able to easily deal with the Wargame and the 2A1, unless of course, you know, they get side shot or have to also deal with infantry at the same time. Just gotta micro them properly. No AA other than the Roland here in the area, and the Roland doesn't quite have the line of sight or range at the moment to deal with that. So as long as the MIT doesn't fly directly over the Stot Trip, it can still do a lot of damage, even though it has only 1 HP. Not much going on there. I think Putin doesn't even have Milan 2 in his deck. Hang on, let me quickly check. Yes, Karina Diaz in a 5-pointer. Yes, Stot Trip in the YPR. Panzerguns and a Marder 2. That's three spots. The Fuchs. What did he have in the Fuchs? Can't be the CV. Oh, he has a second. Okay, he has 2 cards for infantry CV. Okay, never mind. He does have Milans in his deck. I was gonna say, because in these towns you always want ATGM squads. Milan did actually put the spike into this bush instead of the town. Not necessarily the best idea, because the town gives you a bigger stealth boost and the helps you survive. But at the same time, this position gives you a better overview or better line of sight on this area. Now Putin really likes pushing down this highway, which is very interesting, and you don't see a lot of players do. And clearly it seems to work against Milan, because all he had there is the I-90 and the spike just died. So he should definitely move the work up there to stop stuff from driving up there like the Marder 2 here and potentially getting into this forest, or this forest, which is even worse. Oh, Raskassinkorima is maybe the way you pronounce it. With the KRKK, you don't see that very often. Certainly a useful unit, especially defensively for towns, can do a lot of work. And coming with KRKK gives you the possibility to, I wouldn't say spam, but get some KRKKs for relatively cheap, while also coming with an infantry squad that can actually somewhat fight. Now peace runs coming in, killed the M1 Wilk, both missiles hit. It's a bit unfortunate, and allows Putin to, I wouldn't say uncontested, but a lot more easily push up here. And the Marder 2 is actually the thing that's being uncontested. The M2 Wilk here nearly got killed by the Stottorippen up there. I assume it were the Stottorippen, which are dead. However, the KT also got killed. Not sure if it was by the Roland or the infantry there. But the fact that the M2 Wilk is still alive is the biggest deal here. Now this is a very awkward position for Milan. What he definitely has to do is just play defensively here, try to just keep this infantry alive, even push it back to up here, and first try to get on this. Because as long as he doesn't hold this, pushing back further into Delta is going to be very, very awkward, and I wouldn't say impossible, of course, but a lot harder for him. Not even if there's not a whole lot in there, the fact that he knows something is there, and he knows there could potentially be a tank maybe, or could a Milan 2 squad, can definitely fuck you over. The spike in here is gonna definitely help him though to at least deal with Marder 2s and the like. Gauss Marineers, that's the 5th card in his in Putin's infantry deck, Dutch-German deck. M1 Wilk being spotted by the KCT. Milan notices too late, and the peace run hitting both missiles again and killing it. MiG-29 got 1 missile off, way too late though, and the peace run gets out alive. KCT in the back here, still alive by the way. A bit unfortunate for Milan. I'm not sure if you just noticed or if that's just a coincidence that the KT got bought. In any case, Twardy here. Did he buy a Twardy over his second mod, or did he lose his second mod already? If he did lose his second mod, then I'm not just a bad caster, I'm a horrible caster, but maybe you knew that already. But I think the 15 extra points would be worth it. On the other hand, you could argue that Putin not having a 2A5 around it may just also not matter at all, but there's a Tiger, Tiger, and Escort, and Milan has no AA around, no Erikois around either, only down there, and the I-90 did get killed, so that's... He does still have the Biz from earlier, that's true. Could get killed by the Roland 3 if he's unlucky. He's a bit lucky. 2A1 getting killed, only 1 missile necessary because it has 30 AP, and the 2A1 has just enough armor to still get 1 shot, 16 armor. 17 armor would mean that he would survive, or would survive with 1 HP. KCT getting the side shot in the M2 Wilk. I think the M2 Wilk was not on attack move, because I think it was still moving, even though the M2 Wilk got line of sight on that. Maybe I'm wrong, though, I'm not sure. If so, that was a micro hiccup by Milan that cost him dearly. It's a 120 point tank, lost to a 30 point unit. But it could also just be a short line of sight fuck up that caused the M2 Wilk to just shortly spot it and then lose line of sight and continue moving on. In any case, very unlucky or bad for Milan to lose the unit like that. Peace run in the air, getting down by the MiG-29, that's very good. Lands coming in. It seems like the KCT did spot the gas while traversing here. I'm not sure. That's actually hilarious. I think the escort. I'm not sure if the the lance. I don't know if it just missed or if he guessed, but I don't think he guessed. I think the KCT spotted it while traversing. reversing over, you know, the highway, and then he had a clear line of sight down there, and the gas not being in cover. Obviously very easily spottable. Gas, there is AA with the Sokol, but I wouldn't bet on the Sokol winning against the Tiger, especially if the Tiger is charging towards you. That 290 kmh is quickly gonna bridge that gap. Never mind, the Erikois were able to deal with the Tiger easily, but now the Sokol doesn't really have a whole lot to do. The Rodent 3 does have 6 HE, so it will one-shot the Sokol. Also, in the meantime, you know, infantry in the MX-13 is just casually moving up there. Erikois are actually not in the building, should probably get in there. I was gonna say before it's too late, but now it's too late. MX-13s should easily deal with those KTs and other shit that's coming up. It's just incredibly strong fire support over medium to long ranges. You definitely don't want to meet them on the open field with something that isn't a tank. Okay, yeah, he definitely did spot it because a second Lance missile did come in exactly where the gas was, but the gas did get moved up. So Milan did spot the missile early enough this time around. KT, however, with the ridiculous autocannon, easily gonna deal with those MX-13s. A bit too late though, because they definitely did deal enough damage and got, you know, Putin got the worth out of them. A lot of value. Escort on the bottom. I think 2 escorts even. 2 escorts here. One got down by the Erikois. The second one's probably also gonna get killed by it. Nearly killed with gas. Missed with the burst though. A single burst would have probably been enough, unless you're at max range. Then you could survive with 1 HP in theory. Because I believe it only has 2 AP. Lance coming in once again. KCT probably spotted it. Gas is gonna get moved. And that's exactly the reason why he positioned it in the middle of the highway to quickly move down. Actually went for this CV, didn't kill it. CV was in the town though and not in the forest there. So would have survived either way. But a clearly game in Putin's favor. Interesting to note that he barely bought tanks outside of his 2A5 and I think a single 2A1 even. No, if we ignore the MX-13s, which are, let's be real, glorified fire support vehicles. Amazing, for sure, but they're basically just fire support. And of course the Recon Leopard, which also died. Maybe he bought another 2A1 or something at some point, but if so, I didn't see that. ACT is still on the flank there. Really costing Milan a lot of micro and a lot of points. 40 on 1 HP. Could easily get killed by the KCT. But I think if the KCT were to try to go for it now, that gets killed and pinned down on the open field. He could probably get his Grenadiers to move out and then, while the 20 is shooting and aiming at the Grenadiers, maybe use that time frame to get into range of the 20. KCT killed the BMP-1 KT that was down there, not sure if you got noticed. Or you can just wait until your piece is ready and finish off the 20. Milan clearly didn't notice that his 20 was spotted, or he bit the bullet and was like, you know, at least it's gonna protect the CV that way, maybe. Whatever the case may be, bad for him. KT getting now back to the CV. Putin notices it, but yeah, early enough. Gepard was necessary since the KT only had 1 HP anyways. So I think the CV might have even killed it. I'm not sure. Still a shitty ass plane, you know. I mean, not like he can change it because it's in the rules that he can't change his deck. Interestingly enough, not even a tick for Putin anymore. Milan is still leading. 60 points. I didn't even notice it until now, but Putin ground game wise and pretty sure also KD wise must clearly be leading this game. But he has to not necessarily hurry, but at least get like the tick going on anytime soon. Because it's only 7.5 minutes left. But a +1 tick is easily enough if he can keep it, but now it's actually +2. Was +3 for a few seconds. Yeah, probably Milan is gonna surrender in a bit. It did spot this V, but let's not kid ourselves. Roland 3. Yeah, that's GG. It was a weird one. The start was like a bit back and forth. First, Milan getting the 2f5 kill, then Putin getting the mod kill. But clearly the fire support, I think Milan was just a bit too aggressive, trying to push both mid and top. I think, it's fine, if you push and then eventually lose that side, it's nothing to not come back from. But I think he pushed both sides, and both times it fired backwards in a way. He overextended a bit, I'd say, and then losing the mod, clearly didn't help. And it actually looked a lot more one-sided than the KD shows, in my opinion. Yeah, it was honestly a weird match. It kind of looked one-sided, but at the same time, there was never really a clear collapse. It was just gradually that Milan was losing ground. A weird one to cast or to look at, but also just like an idiot missed a lot of the kills and such. Anyways, let's get into the next one. Mod fight. Milan playing, I believe it's Entente, and Putin playing Soviets. So this means that Milan banned Putin's blue for mechanized. Excuse me. Blue for mechanized deck, and chooses to play Entente instead of Baltic on this map. I knew beforehand already what the matchup was. I didn't look at the replay, but I knew from a screenshot that Milan was playing Entente against Putin's Soviets. I was wondering, because Putin beforehand knows, alright, it has to be a mod fight now, and Milan already also knows that the only deck that Putin can play now is Soviets. So I'm a bit surprised that he chooses to play Entente on this map. Not saying Entente AA is bad by any means, but I think that the AA of Baltic is better against Putin's Soviet deck, or the way Putin plays the Soviet deck, with the 3,500 meter IDO 90, with Erikois, with Ozas. Ozas, especially against 25Ts. Granted, you get Ozas in Entente as well, but the above 3 that Milan uses does have only, I'm not sure if it has only one front armor, but it also doesn't have a whole lot of range, so it's not particularly great against M8 MTVs. But most importantly, the Brachka is just, like, it's a good unit, but it's bad versus Putin, because it has only 2 missiles, meaning that if one of them misses against an M8 MTV, your Brachka is probably dead. And then, even if we are ignoring that he's playing against Putin, Baltic Front gets spikes, and spikes on this map are amazing. So I'm actually a bit puzzled. I mean, granted, M84As, the V-Horse, especially with their speed and stabilizers, they're amazing, but that's not necessarily what you need against Putin's Soviet deck. Wilks and mods are probably enough, in my opinion, and it's more important that you have cost-efficient AA, especially versus like M8 MTV spam and the like. That's why I'd say, even, obviously he can't change the deck, so he doesn't have the 25 point ZSU AA pieces in his deck, which would probably be even better against Putin. But even without those, I'd definitely say that Baltic Front would be a much better choice on this map. Most definitely. Because, like, Entente isn't too bad on, like, open fields and such, but it prefers the medium to close range engagements. Not necessarily forest fights, but they like alpha engagements is what they like, but usually alpha doesn't really happen a whole lot. Okay, there's not gonna happen a whole lot around alpha until after the engagements near this town or delta happens, or alternatively you're gonna fight over this area, but then that's also not a particularly close range. Unless you're playing from Putin's side, then I guess this would also be good territory for Entente. Still though, in my opinion, maybe with Milan's playstyle he thinks differently, but in my opinion Baltic Front would have been the better choice. But it's not like Entente is a bad deck by any means. Anyway, so deployment is still going on. Both players clearly going for this town. Both still not ready. Let me quickly take a look. So Milan, a lot of those are Druks, Prachka, Hera, Vishalnis, both three. Relatively, I wouldn't say like heavy, but a good amount of points on this area, more than I would do use at least. 91 AV horror, Prachka AKM, a lot of AA clearly, which I can't blame him because for 5 MTVs, excuse me, 7 MTVs, and a K29 for Putin. Also interesting to see, he uses the OBR 1986. It's not a unit you see very often. It's a BMP2 with a Conqueror's M, if I'm not wrong. But I guess, you know, once this deployment starts, once the game starts, we'll see. But that seems to be close to 10-minute deployment, maybe longer. All right, Milan. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm bad at filling that air. But I also saw some nice pings. I don't know when these pings from are coming out. I don't know if that's pre-deployment, during deployment, or after deployment. 11.5 minutes into it. There we go. Okay, okay. My MTV is being instantly unloaded, so I guess he definitely doesn't expect them to survive. It's fine. And my MTVs, I'm pretty sure those carry Factorias, which are the Fagot M's, 16 AP, 2450 meter range, I believe 45% accuracy. But they're 10 points, they're basically just a vessel to get a cheap Emite MTV. 2 AKMs actually, I missed that. Maybe I adjusted it after a while. They get 1 AKM, not necessarily a trade worth doing, and didn't even stop him properly. There's the Factoria, 2450 meter range, 16 AP, 45% accuracy. They're not supposed to really kill a whole lot, you know, outside of light vehicles. Like I said, the main reason is to be a cheap vessel, or you know, a cheap way to get. Oh god. Yeah. Okay, Special Crew are unloading. Milan seems to be noticing this early enough. Do not get sideshot by the crew. That was close. That's 20 AP. Wouldn't one-shot Vihor, but would have dealt a lot of damage. The Duk are out in the open, but you know, there's not a whole lot of range on the BMP2's autocannon. Congress M, like I said. You know, personally, I probably wouldn't use them, but then again, personally, I don't play a lot of Soviets, and personally, I don't have Putin's space tail, so like I've said it to balance before when I saw Putin's Soviet deck. If someone can make this deck work, it's Putin. It's just this very unique playstyle. Even, you know, yeah, the Yak 1 for nearly getting killed by the MiG-23ML. Got out with 1 HP because the missiles on the MiG-23ML have 5 and 4 HP, 4 HE, respectively, meaning that if one of both hit, you know, you're gonna deal 9 damage. There you see. I believe you also get 3 of them per card, which is kind of nice. You obviously sacrifice ECM, but you come on elite, so the accuracy on the missiles isn't too bad. So not a bad blind, but obviously ECM not all too great. But the Druks are actually gonna be more or less ideal in a way, and I wouldn't say ideal, but still very good against Putin because he has a lot of low-ish armor vehicles, a lot of IFVs, a lot of BTR-90s, BMP2s, and the T-80, you know, is barely gonna survive 2 shots from the Druk, but still. I think having lots of Druks around is probably gonna be better than few Conquerors M. Tatar not being unloaded, not a huge shield though. Svedka still moving from the start. A single Emite MTV survived. I'm not sure if it was. I don't think it was one from the Factoria. Probably from somewhere else. So, and a K29 is also still alive. I guess he mainly didn't really charge with it as he did with the MI8s. Uragan did fire, by the way, you know, which I didn't miss. I just didn't get to talk about it yet, but didn't really do a whole lot. It was a weird buy because at that point he didn't really have the town anymore, so there wasn't really a point to do that. So what I think, in my opinion, would be very crucial for Milan, and it's no, he's not doing it. Would be to get a scout in this area. The thing when playing against Putin is he's very unpredictable in a way. Definitely always want to know beforehand if he's preparing a ground push or a helicopter push. The thing about and with I don't mean helicopter rush, but like 5-6 helicopters, push at one front line, pull the helicopters back and do some shenanigans somewhere else or something. The problem with that is AA is generally, unless you're talking about 6, 7, 8 plus helicopters, generally AA is relatively cost efficient versus helicopters and even planes most of the time. However, the big thing about helicopters, while we see the 25T killing the Bow 3 here, the big thing about helicopters is they can move from one flank to another within half a minute or even less, depending on how big the map is, right? Repositioning AA takes a lot more time. And if you want to protect your whole front line against helicopters, you're gonna spread out your AA. But AA is reactive, and helicopters are proactive. So if you spread out your AA, let's say you have an AKM in Alpha, an AKM in Delta, and an AKM in Foxtrot, to simplify the example. And then the opponent has 4 Hinds, right? 3 AKMs versus 4 Hinds, easy peasy, well, not easy peasy, but generally speaking, should be easy to deal with, right? Yeah. However, Putin can just get his 4 Hinds up to Foxtrot, kill the AKM, maybe lose a Hind, pull back, and then what now? Either Milan has to buy a new AA in Foxtrot, or he has to move his other AA up. Either way, Foxtrot is either now without protection versus helicopters, or his other flanks are without protection versus helicopters. That's the problem. They can just do damage, pull back, resupply, and somewhere appear, like a minute later, appear on the other front line and then do their damage. That's the problem. That's why against this playstyle, which most notably happens against Putin, you definitely want to try to get a scout somewhere near the spawn or where he tends to gather his helicopters. And it's just one part. And of course there's also the 25T, which is another big part, but yeah, so that's why he definitely should try to get like a Specialny or something around, even a Hera of course, but the Hera is obviously a lot easier to detect. Proletariat getting very deep in here, getting an AK kill. By the way, planes earlier, I don't think any of those planes got killed. Putin has a Yak 141 and a MiG-25 PD at the ready. Milan still has MiG-23 ML as well as a MiG-29. HT gets in a bit too late. Could potentially still deal with the Razzmann, but I'm not sure if it can spot it. We saw lightly armored CV. Most scenarios probably enough to at least survive a couple of Eurogun shells unless they hit directly, unlike a Jeep CV. Maybe that is the main reason why he chose Entente, because he has a somewhat armored CV in this neck, as opposed to Baltic where he has only Jeeps and infantry. That would be a very good reason to play this. And my 25, that's maybe exactly what he's doing now, trying to get a Specialny around. Hera for the flank, BTRT. So I guess Putin is doing or preparing some sort of push on the flank. BTRT, BMP2 is to do with light vehicle stuff. BTRT is basically, unkillable by autocannons and such. So Milan will need some heavier anti-tank for this. And if there's a tank, then he can just roll out his 25T. L19 as well now. So 2 cards of ASFs. L19, most importantly, Fire and Forget plane. With the Mika. Yeah, that because they're French missiles, I guess, have 5% extra accuracy compared to AIM 120s, R77s, name it. There's a light push down there. Mi-35, however, could do a lot of work. Obviously, in theory, he could gun run it with a 25T, but as long as he has his ASF sub, I think he'd be a bit too scared to just use it for a gun run. Oof. Okay, there's 27M for the M91A, 25T for basically anything ground, obviously, and PD and Jag 141 to protect his planes. And 27M obviously also can shoot down planes. So I'd expect, yeah, probably the right choice to evac the L19 here. Try to salvage it. MiG-29 did get killed. L19 also got killed. 27M did not get a kill on a Vihor. 27M is getting shot at, gets out with 3 HP. Still, good for Putin. BTR, BMP2s got fucked here. BTRTs are still driving through though. Nonetheless, good for Putin. He did get a 19 kill, he did get a Mech 29 kill. He didn't lose a single plane. There's some. Can you play more cancerously? You twat. Okay. Mech 25 PD. Putin with the absolute air dominance. I think that was a one-shot crit on the Mech 10 and 3 ML, if I'm not wrong. That is incredibly unlucky and unfortunate. M84A. If he continues to push down there, the above 3 is probably gonna get killed. Does Putin have line of sight on the above 3? He does not. Because even if the above 3 isn't gonna kill the 25T, it's definitely gonna stun it. 125 going around the flank, but I think Ratchet is gonna at least deal some damage. It's gonna stun it a bit. VDB90 are also gonna do a lot of work here. It's just gonna fly over. I think if he tried to stay there, he would get stunned by a couple of MGs. The fact that it's already panicked doesn't help either. Putin trying to fire position on where he thought the ML25 would be, but yeah, a bit unfortunate. I think with a bit of micro here, he could have potentially gotten at least a Eurogun kill, which would have helped for sure. However, Putin does have 2 Euroguns in his deck, as you can see by the veterancy. Trying to snipe the V-Sword now. Got stunned in the middle of a fire. That's a bit unfortunate. A detract in the middle of a fire. But Putin just, amassing stuff here so he can keep his foothold, and it seems to work for now. However, these specialists can come from the back and do a lot of damage. The Vihor without infantry support, at least smoke to somewhat protect it against the 25T or 27M, but it definitely needs infantry support down there. The problem is Putin just pushing on mod, first pushing down here. Now he's rerouting units there again. Not even relying on helicopters at the moment, or at any point really until from the start really. Only a bit down there, but hasn't really done a whole lot of helicopter plays. Mainly just playing 27M and 25T, and just basically forcing Milan to buy ASFs on planes, but not getting any value out of those. In fact, just straight up losing them, and that's very, very bad. Forcing Milan to buy a shit ton of Prachka, so Prachka's just, again, they're not bad. Like versus single helicopters, and they're okay versus planes too. But I think he would be better off buying also AKMs, because of the range against planes. Because at the moment helicopters are just not an issue. Though he might also simply be out of AKMs. If he upvets the AKM, he only gets 4 of them, and he bought 2 at the start, and he lost 1. So I'm not sure if he has only 1 left to buy or he lost. Oh no, he does. Yeah, he upvets. Okay, he only gets 4 per card. That's also what happened to me against Putin on the Pettyfield game where I played Eastern Bloc. If you remember that, I ran out of AKMs when he played US pretty early on. So I guess that's why he buys Parachkas. His 2 cards of ASFs so far didn't really help either. He did get out alive at least this time around. PD could have. Nah, it only had 2 missiles left. AKM got a kill. That is a 25T. Ooh, well, okay, that's at least one of the 2 giants down. Only 27M left, so that's actually pretty good news for Milan. That's very good news. It's gonna make his IFV plays, etc., a lot more possible. However, Putin did amass a shit ton of stuff. A lot of BTRTs here, a lot of infantry, and 2 T80s. And the BMPT against a single Vihor at close range. On the open field, of course, Vihor is very good, but buying 2 M84As, which is 20 points more expensive, but in the long run, or right now, would have probably be preferred over a single Vihor. And hindsight is 2020, of course. What's this? 2 more BMPTs, 2 T88s, T88 with the 2,800 meter range missile. Only poor optics though for a 100 point tank. That is just that's why I'm personally not a fan of this tank. Obviously you only buy it mainly buy it for the ATGM, especially on this map. Still, poor optics is so. I guess it's not as big of a deal on this map, especially if you have Razzmann everywhere, so not a lot of line of sight blockades. Razzmann gonna do a lot of work spotting. Still, I'm just not a fan of this tank. And honestly, against Entente, BMP2 seem to be doing the job just fine. Hello, my name is Putin and my IQ is 3. I can only spam helos on planes. 3 ASFs, I would definitely would have at least kept at least one of those at the ready, because if you keep circling them now and you know they run out of fuel or they suddenly get killed by A or something, then he doesn't have anything left, or if he has to evac them all at the same time right now he's for a short time without ASFs. Except for the 27M, I guess. Okay, never mind then. I was gonna say that you always, if you have multiple ASFs, you try to not have them out at the same time, to always have one at the ready. But the 27M gets the kill on the V-Horn, gets killed in return. Probably worth it though, because right now, except for the M84 CVs, Milan is basically without protection, and buying that M84 CV definitely was the wrong choice. Should have invested more into tanks and infantry, because he didn't see Putin invest anywhere. Like, I don't think he saw already where Putin invested his points. He saw a lot of planes, but I think he didn't really see a lot of new planes or a lot of new helicopters. So he must have, you know, you can deduct from that well, he must invest in ground units or in units somewhere. So he was already taking +1, and he was already having conquest points. So there was no need to buy this M84K CV, and buying an M84 and some infantry or something potentially probably wouldn't really have saved him, but it would have at least put him in a not as bad position as he is now in. M84 AK dies to T88. Moderna being bought now. Well, there's no anti-tank plane left for Putin, so I'll take that back. I'm pretty sure he does have the MiG-29M, the cluster plane with R77s still left in his deck on elite, so technically he does have an ATGM plane left, anti-tank plane left. Planes all getting out. Prachka getting out of missiles. This one has one left. This one has one left. AKM shot. Those are some lucky ass planes. Not gonna lie. I mean, let's be real here. If all of these died, you know, it would still look horrible for Milan. But those are some lucky ass planes that they survived this. And Moderna, you know, outside of like anti-tank helicopter, like a VP getting a side shot or something, or T-80A getting a side shot, or tanks getting in close range, not really a shit ton he can do there, you know, unless he side shots with the T-80. I guess now it's easily gonna get killed by the VP. There was even a side shot, unfortunate. Outside of that, there was no lot of stuff that Putin can do, but with such a position, it's easy to get some flank shots in, but you know, it's obviously over the game. Now, M91A here, also not gonna do much. I guess in theory, of course, it's not over, but realistically, it probably is. You'll always bet on Putin maybe forgetting about the time or not realizing that he's behind. But I don't think Putin is the type of player to do that. I'm wondering if we're gonna see some more pings. There's a CV. Assuming it's gonna be another at like 8 minutes, that would be 120 points with a +1. Or with 7 minutes, 105 points. Some helicopters flying around. I don't think he's gonna spot it, but there's two scratch heads and two Mi-24 VPs. Funnily enough, helicopters are one of the best, helicopters with guns are one of the best anti-helicopter units that you can get. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna, I think it's clear they're not gonna do all too much. They also got spotted by the planes. We are here getting side shot by the BMP2. But I think it is, yeah, there we go, it's over. The player with an IQ of 3 won the game. I mean, the start looked good for Milan, clearly. And the push on the top side of on the map, on the top zone, didn't go all too badly either. He probably went negative in that engagement, but let's say he went even with that engagement and the engagement at the start of the game where he must have come out ahead, right? What lost him the game? For one of the most clearest things was his CV by the M84 CVs, especially the second one, which was just unnecessary. But by that point, it was already too late, right? So he invested a lot of points into planes. I believe he bought two L19s, a MiG-29 bomber, and at least two MiG-23 MLs. That's something like 500 something points. It was nearly every time he was outnumbered when it came to his planes. And the biggest thing is, like I said, he felt forced to buy the planes to deal with the 25T. But here's a hot take: what if you just don't buy ASFs to deal with the 25T? It sounds stupid, and it's obviously easier said than done to deal with the 25T. Or protect against the 25T, not with ASFs, but with smoke and AA. Obviously, easier said than done. But the problem was that he was always outnumbered when it comes to ASFs. And even if he killed an ASF, Putin had more ASFs. He had two PDs, two Yak 141s, 27M, and the MiG-29M that we didn't even see. We're against two L19s and I believe three MiG-23MLs. One already died early on. So two. Let's see. How many do you get? Actually, you even get only two. You don't even get three. So you only got two of them. That makes it actually a lot worse than I thought. So he just always went into plane engagements that didn't really favor him. The problem with Mudfight is that the spawns being so close and there not being a lot of space behind your spawn means that it's very hard to bait your opponent's planes into your own AA and then turn around and engage the enemy planes while they're also getting shot at by the AA. That's pretty hard to do because the map is so narrow and so small. Because it's generally what you want to do if your opponent has more planes than you. You want to try to bait him. So that's a very hard thing to do. So either you're not gonna buy ASFs in like against the 25T and Putin's 25T playstyle, or you go all in and get like 3 or 4 of them at the same time. Ideally, what he probably should have done is also, while he had the MiG-29, just used it for tanking. He doesn't really need a bomber against Putin. It didn't really do a whole lot, and I think he needed it at the start. It was useful there. Outside of that, he didn't do a whole lot. So while he had it, send that out first with the 40% ECM and your ASFs behind it, and then try, and if you even get into a range, you still have two missiles, but just see it purely as for tanking enemy AA missiles, plane missiles, and then potentially try to win the plane engagements with that. But other than that, either don't buy planes or go all in. I'd like to stress this again. It's obviously easier to say for me as a spectator, etc., etc. I'm not saying, oh, Milan, you're such a trash player. You should have just done this and done that. I've lost to Putin on Mudfight as well before. It's hard to play against this playstyle, especially on Mudfight. So yeah, it's not like I'm pretending here to be the almighty Razzmann. I always do the perfect thing and I never lose. And if I lose, it's always because of bad RNG. That's not what I'm trying to say here, or trying to pretend to be here, right? Just like I like to make that clear. When watching replays, it's with the spectator's perspective, it's always easier to say what should have been done or could have been done or would have been the best thing to do, right? In some things I would definitely say that was possible, and I might have seen that, whereas Milan did not. For example, where Milan bought a second M84A CV instead of investing into more ground units, because he could have deducted that Putin did definitely invest into more ground units because he never bought a third CV or even more planes, mainly because he nearly bought all planes already. But other things, of course, a lot easier to see, or only possible to see if you watch the replay. So yeah, that's Putin winning 3 of the 5 matches, or winning the best of 3, Milan winning 1 game, the very first one, Putin winning 3. That means Putin is in the grand finals, and Milan is in the losers finals. So Milan has to now win versus spoilers, or has to play against either Firestarter, Esmosine, Mr. Ghosty, or Blitzwar. And then either of those players will have to play against Putin. At least one best of 5. If they win the best of 5 against Putin, there's going to be a second best of 5, because they came in from the losers bracket. Because they already lost one set of matches, whereas Putin still has to be defeated. So that means that if Putin were to be defeated in the best of 5, he would go down into the losers bracket. I guess you could think of it that way. In case you're unfamiliar with this double elimination scenario. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the cast. I'm not sure what I'm gonna cast next or what you're gonna see next. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time.